But first, here at 5 o'clock, we've got some breaking news to tell you about. Investigators are working to figure out what caused an apartment fire in South Louisville. According to MetroSafe, it happened right around 3 this afternoon on Colonial Oaks Court in the Southside neighborhood. That's right near the Muhammad Ali International Airport. MetroSafe told us fire crews gained control of that fire within minutes of arriving on scene. It's unclear how many people have been impacted by this. Thankfully, no injuries were reported.
It's 25% without exceptions or exemptions, and that's all countries, no matter where it comes from.
President Donald Trump there earlier this week imposing tariffs on all imports of steel and aluminum. It's the latest order from the president that could have ramifications right here at home. And it's our top story at 5 o'clock. I'm Shay McAllister.
And I'm Doug Proffitt. The Ford Motor Company CEO Jim Farley in an interview this week said threats of tariffs are causing, quote, a lot of cost and a lot of chaos. He's in Washington today, while our Isaiah Kim Martinez is talking to Kentucky lawmakers and Ford employees.
Ford has a massive footprint here in Kentucky. So when the company's lead man sounds the alarm, Kentuckians listen, especially as that electric battery plant down in Glendale is set to open here soon. The fear of higher prices, rolling back production, and layoffs aren't what Louisville Ford employees want to hear.
It's always feast or famine in auto industry.
Benji Abels, who's worked at Ford's Kentucky truck plant in Louisville's East End for 12 years, is taking CEO Jim Farley's concern over President Donald Trump's proposed tariffs seriously.
There's so many young people that work here that would be affected by it.
At an investor conference, Farley said a long-term 25% import tax on Canada and Mexico would blow a hole in the American auto industry. Trump's new tariff on steel and aluminum could affect prices, Farley says, because of how much their suppliers rely on product from overseas.
It's already affecting our workers. Our workers are worried about it. We had discussions in the union meeting. Some of the tariffs haven't even hit yet. And you're already hearing folks talk about, their jobs.
I talked to Todd Dunn, president of UAW's Louisville chapter.
This threatens the jobs here in Louisville, Kentucky. So even at the local union level, we're preparing for a $1.2 million shortfall. And everybody's trying to prepare for this and get out in front of it.
Farley says if the president revokes electric vehicle tax benefits for the building of facilities like the EV battery plant in Glendale, jobs could be at risk.
I'm not that concerned. I'd like to see how the tariffs kind of play out and how some of the cuts that they're considering, whether or not they actually come to fruition.
Kentucky State Senator Matt Deneen of Elizabethtown, a Republican, represents the area where that EV plant is set to open soon.
I think a lot of these things are negotiating tactics that are used, and sometimes on an international front. This could lead to a lot of other Ford sales into markets, into Europe, into other things. I'm confident that with the investments that have already been made going forward, that they're going to be successful.
Meanwhile, Ford's top executive is in Washington to talk to members of Congress, I'm told primarily Republicans, in his second trip to D.C. in 3 weeks. Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 on your side.
In a statement today, a spokesperson for Blue Oval SK says they're on schedule in Hardin County to begin production at that first EV battery plant sometime this year. The governor has also said sometime during quarter number 1. Now, Blue Oval SK, as you may remember, is a joint venture between Ford and the Korean company SK On to make batteries for Ford's future electric vehicle fleet. Right here tonight, MSD is on a alert ahead of the heavy weekend of rain coming into Kentuckiana. With the snow melting as well, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear has warned that the rain heading this way could produce some possible flooding.
So our Ian Hardwood and photojournalist Jessica Farley join us now live from the Belle of Louisville. Ian, how does the water level look down there right now?
Shay, the water's about 5 feet higher than it normally is, 17 feet right now, up from its normal 12 feet. And if you look out here, it was actually just a little bit higher before. You can see where a lot of this driftwood has washed up onto the shore. Now, MSD is trying to make sure that none of this water backs back up into the city and floods the streets. We heard from them earlier about how they're pumping that over gates and out into the Ohio River. This is how MSD controls water when there's a risk of flooding. Dane Anderson, the operations director for flood protection, orders levees like this one near Patty's Run closed.
We're closing that gate off so that doesn't allow water to back up from the Ohio River.
That's because the river is nearly 17 feet high, 5 feet over normal. So the water you see running out into the Ohio here is going over the gate. Snowmelt soaked ground in a rainy weekend forecast has the National Weather Service watching water levels closely.
As we get closer to that time frame, I would think we would at some point see a flood watch be issued.
Now, the National Weather Service there has not officially said there's going to be a flood watch, but as you heard there, it's something they're expecting. The central part of the state might get minor flooding. Now, the eastern part of the state, they said, would be more moderate. Doug, Shay?
So, Ian, of course, the Ohio River's always tricky. You know, we can get a lot of rain on Saturday. The river's not going to be impacted immediately. It's always day 1, day 2, day 3 after that. What are you hearing about into next week?
That's absolutely right, Doug. It could take a few days for all that water to actually make it out here to the Ohio. 5 inches of rain is not going to raise this river up several feet. What happens is it goes to places like Beargrass Creek or towards the west part of the city where we're at that pump station. It trickles all through the city and then gets dumped out to here, which means you could start to see those levels rise more towards Monday or Tuesday. Live down here at the Ohio River, I'm Ian Hardwitt for WHAS 11 on your side.
All right, Ian, right there on the edge of the water. Just don't take one step backwards.
Thank you, Ian. As a reminder, MSD says to stay away from the Ohio River, creeks and streams, and drainage ditches because they may be contaminated these next few days. If you or your pets come in contact with water from any of those sources, make sure you wash it off with warm, soapy water, especially before handling any food.
And moving on here with more stories related to this, take a look. Right now, at least 40 different states in our country are under alerts for flooding, snow and ice. That's up from the 26 states we told you about right here in this newscast yesterday. In fact, 2 storms have been hitting the mid-Atlantic and Midwest, dropping more than a foot of snow in some areas. Those same storms have been bringing heavy rain across parts of the South, bringing threats of flash flooding and tornadoes. State of Virginia is now in a state of emergency after heavy snow on the roads led to more than 800 reported accidents.
We have additional troopers on the roads just to be there for additional assistance and to monitor safe driving and be on hand for motorists as they need it.
And people in California gathering sandbags and barriers to help stop mud and rocks from sliding onto roads. It's a concern they're facing following last month's wildfires. As for the Northeast, that region is set to receive a second round of icy weather later tonight. And earlier this morning, more than 100,000 customers across the state of Virginia were reported to be without power. Very impactful weather.
Lucky we're not dealing with that here, but here at home, my gosh, is it nasty out there?
Yeah, we've had even some fog developing. I know, Ben, and now you're looking at the roadways behind you. What's going on right there?
Yeah, right downtown. It looks like we've got all lanes blocked. 64, it looks like westbound here. That's right in front of Slugger and the elevated portion of the expressway right there. So we've got, again, all lanes blocked. Well, a little more information on that coming up here in just a little bit right there as you coming in and out of the junction. We do have visibility that's been dropping around 1 to 2 miles in many locations and a little bit lower than that in some spots. You can barely see downtown from Jeff, so right across the river. So that visibility would indicate right around 1 to 2 miles. Upper 30s to around 40 degrees. We have very little wind out there. We got high level of moisture in the air and the ground and just some really foggy ingredients. Temperatures are coldest north of the river in the 30s, and then we've made it to around 50 in Campbellsville and Munfordville. Just a mess over the eastern United States. Heavier rain to our south right now. Snow north of Indy, where they're picking up several inches of snow and some light icing. For us, it's just going to be a chilly light rain and some drizzle off and on for the rest of tonight. So Futurecast shows just some gloomy conditions out there. You'll want the warm jacket and maybe the umbrella, some rain gear here with more of that rain. Wet roads out there. And then overnight, the cold front will move off to the east. We'll drop down to near freezing. And tomorrow, just above freezing for highs and wind chills in the upper teens and lower 20s. So bitterly cold temperatures on the way. You can see that wind chill really dropping low as we get started tomorrow morning in the teens and staying very cold and frigid all day long for our Thursday. So our low tonight, 31 degrees. Light rain tapers off after midnight. 33 at noon tomorrow, and mostly cloudy, and 35 for that afternoon high tomorrow. We do have a couple dry days before the weekend storm. We'll talk more about that coming up in our full forecast.
Ben, thank you very much. Today, people in Kentucky exonerated, cleared of their crimes, testified at the Capitol asking lawmakers to start paying people who have been wrongfully convicted in this state. Right now, Kentucky is one of only 12 states that does not compensate those who were wrongfully imprisoned. House Bill 206, sponsored by Louisville's Jason Nemus, the Republican from Middletown, would create the framework to start repaying people. It proposes $65,000 per year of imprisonment, plus tuition waivers and re-entry services. Johnetta Carr is the youngest person to be wrongfully convicted in Kentucky, just 16 years old at the time. She spent her teenage years behind bars and can never get those years back.
I have met exonerees in Kentucky. I'm very close to all of them. Some of them have spent 20 years, 15 years in prisons and jails for crimes they didn't commit. Some of them are still not here because they have passed away and have never got a chance to see any type of relief from the injustice that they face in Kentucky.
Proposed in the bill, a person would have to prove their innocence within 2 years of being released. Going beyond just paying these people, Jason Nemus wants there to be programs to help people get back on their feet, whether that's helping finding them housing or going back to school.
The woman accused of killing another person at a rehab facility in Louisville is officially charged with murder. Angela Hensley faced a judge today where she refused to stand up or respond to questions.
Angela Hensley.
Whoa.
Miss Hensley.
The 8-year-old remained in her seat right in the front row during arraignment. Police say she admitted to killing a woman Sunday night at the Praxis Rehab Facility on LaSalle Avenue, which is owned by Landmark Recovery. Hensley admitted to using a towel and can be seen on video exiting the room while the victim's lying on the ground. Hensley appeared before a judge today where her charges were upgraded from attempted murder to murder. Her bond is set at $1 million and she's due back in court on February 20th.